When I was in college, I failed math. And I knew that I needed better than a D in order to have the experience of graduating with a great GPA. And so I chose to do it over. Even though I was a struggling single mom, even though I took classes in the summer, I took a heavier load than most students because I wanted to graduate on time. But I took it over, not because of the D, but also because of the D. But I wanted to show myself that even though I had been told that I wasn't good at math, that I could prove to myself that I was. So here I was, an English major with a concentration in creative writing and a minor in women's studies. And at the time, I was maybe 19 or 20 years old, really getting into the women's studies. And it was the first time that I had started hearing about goddesses from different cultures and ethnicities. And I was hooked, again, which is why I minored in women's studies. It started with the stories of Isis and Ma'at and even the Greek goddesses. But I knew that divine feminine connection was exactly what I needed. And that's why when I took the class over, I chose intentionally a woman professor. And when she showed me how easy math could be, I ended up going from a D to a B, and that boosted up my GPA. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Because so many of us have been told that we're not good at math and that we shouldn't even try things in sciences and biology and things like that. And so most of us give up at a very early age because we're not encouraged, right? And so why I'm really sharing this with you as well as because as a Black woman, I was not, again, I was totally told that math was definitely not something I should know how to do. In fact, I was discouraged from advancing in math. And so when I signed up for a geometry class with the same professor and got a B, it again boosting my GPA. But more importantly, it showed me that I could, when I really wanted to learn something, I learned best from a woman. And so this is why when I have shared about how I've been able to live debt-free, even though I live abroad with no credit cards, this is why I want to share this with you, beloveds, because it was those ancient queens of prosperity that gave me not only the foundation, but the courage and the confidence that I could, in fact, get a better grade in math and then in geometry. And so the reason I'm sharing this with you is because on this experience that I'm about to venture on to Egypt, it's not just about seeing the ancient structures. It's also about me studying the feminine economic power that ruled for thousands of years in Egypt. I'll start with the most famous, Cleopatra. And even though we don't know her true heritage, she was the queen and ruler of Egypt with finances and kings and, the Romans. She stood firmly in her understanding and belief for her people, for her country, and for herself. Her great wealth is some of the things that we still go and see in museums all around the world. And so when I'm talking about the queens of prosperity, be it Cleopatra or Nefertiti or Isis or Ma'at, these queens ruled. This is why actually I have a map of the world behind me, because that's what a queen does. She rules, but the first thing she has to rule is her mind. She's got to rule her mind, because this is where our sovereignty begins. And then it comes into her heart, which is why so many queens were about their people and about their country. That comes in the heart. And so they ruled with thousands and thousands of dollars, which we know today, in gold, with none of the technology or things that we now have today, and that we often forget that our ancestors did so much with so little. And so financial literacy isn't something that I have grew up with. In fact, I came from a single mother home and then became a single mother myself, being on welfare and struggling year after year. And yet I continued and I rose. The other day I shared the story about how I filed bankruptcy and how I vowed that I would never have another credit card because it brings so much guilt. And this is one of the other things I wanted to talk about. We have so much energetic connection to an emotional connection to our finances as women. And so this is why when we really anchor in and empower ourselves, not only with financial literacy, but teach ourselves what we do not know, this, beloveds, is how our knowledge becomes power. This is how we begin to know thyself. And so I want to invite you to come on a sacred journey with me to discover and hear and learn all about the queens of prosperity of our ancient ancestors through now. On this adventure, not only am I going to, as of course, go to ancient places, but I'm also going to be looking at the legacies and the lineages that they have left that have lingered to this day. So yeah, I failed math, but I taught myself, I invested in myself in time and energy and money to learn something new, to remind myself that although I don't know it now, I can. And that's why I really want to invite you on this journey with me. So as we go and visit the temples of Isis and Hathor and see different displays of Isis and Ma'at, I want you to remember and not only see it, but learn it and become empowered financially in your prosperity and abundance, but for real. Not because you read a book, but because it is who you are. I keep sharing this, and I'm going to keep sharing this, that prosperity is a feminine quality. Why do you think we're taught the narrative that we weren't good at math? I just shared with you there were women who ruled for thousands of years. We can visibly see their lineage and legacy in the artifacts in the ancient temples that we will be visiting. And so I want you to anchor in this. If you could connect to an ancient Egyptian goddess, who would it be? What qualities does she have that you desire? Because our sovereignty begins now. And as I said, one of the first things that you can do for yourself is remind yourself that this is your queendom, that you must rule first. And then you can rule not only the world out there, but the world in here for your family, for your community, and then ultimately for the world, through your business, through your offerings, through all that you do. Because we have seen now more than ever that the male patriarchal capitalistic society is not working. Our most sacred and powerful Mother Nature is speaking directly to us. And this is why, as women, we must remind ourselves not only of our sacred sovereignty, but truly that we are and we come from a lineage of queens of prosperity. And when we can anchor this in, remember, most of the men that run this world there's a woman at home. There's a woman right next to him. And if we can empower ourselves and become the women that we know we are, those women with those men, we can change the world. Because ultimately, it was the queens who passed on the lineage of and legacy throughout time. So come on this sacred journey with me, beloved sisters, as we anchor in, empower, and harness the power of the queens of prosperity of ancient Egypt. I'd love to see you on this journey. We're going to have a private Telegram chat where we'll do behind the scenes videos wherever we are, connecting to that divine energy. I'll be sharing some sacred tools, including a steady streams tarot spread and money mantras and so many other tools that you can start to anchor in your sacred queen of prosperity. I can't wait to see you and join us this Friday as the adventure begins.